Hello and welcome back to Mobility Matters. I'm your host, Javier Betancourt, Executive Director of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, or CITT. We're the quasi-independent agency of Miami-Dade County charged with overseeing your half-penny sales tax for transportation. So if you've been following this program, you know that 20% of the monies generated by that half-penny surtax are distributed to all of our 34 municipalities, 34 cities in this county. And it's distributed on a pro rata basis, right? So larger cities get more, smaller cities get less. One of the cities that maybe doesn't get as much as it deserves because it's got a smaller population than it does a daytime visitor population is the city of Miami Beach. And I'm so happy to welcome a longtime friend and colleague, Jose Gonzalez, who is the Director of Transportation and Mobility at the good city of Miami Beach. Welcome to the program, Jose.
Thank you, Javier. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, I say Miami Beach, and I think it needs no explanation because no matter where you live in Miami-Dade County, you've been to the beach, maybe clubbing back in high school or in college, or you to go take the family to the beach, or you go to the great restaurant. So, but for the maybe newbies who just arrived in Miami and don't know about Miami Beach, tell us about the city, like its size, its kind of character, and its uniqueness in terms of major events. And so tell us a little bit about Miami Beach, why it's unique, and particularly from a transportation and mobility standpoint.
Sure. So Miami Beach is a barrier island that is only 7 square miles in size, but there's a lot that goes on within those 7 square miles. We're also connected to the mainland through essentially 3 causeways: the MacArthur Causeway, the Julia Tuttle Causeway, and the Venetian Causeway. The Julia Tuttle and the MacArthur are under the state's Department of Transportation's jurisdiction. The Venetian Causeway is under the county's jurisdiction. So we work very closely with our transportation partner agencies. But the city itself, as you mentioned, from a population standpoint, it's not a large city. We're approximately 80,000 residents. However, on any given day, there are over 200,000 people in our city between tourist visitors, workforce, and residents, of course. And that peaks during some of the major special events that we have throughout the year, such as Art Week, and we have a lot of them. Art Week, Boat Show, Food and Wine, just to name a few. So we have some unique challenges as a result of our geography and the fact that we're an international destination. People from all over the world know Miami Beach. They save throughout the year to come vacation in Miami Beach. So we're very proud of that. But we have some unique challenges in balancing mobility with quality of life for our residents.
Right. And in addition to having all those cars coming in and out, it's probably the most pedestrian and bike-friendly community we have. And it's just a city, the way it's built, lends itself to that. And so on top of all of the traffic, you have to kind of balance the pedestrians and the cyclists, increasingly transit, right? Which I know the city runs a lot of. So tell us about that aspect of it, how you balance those different modes.
Sure. So about 10 years ago, we completed a master plan, a transportation master plan, very progressive at that time. And that master plan prioritized pedestrians first, transit and bicycles second, and the private vehicles last. And the master plan was that master plan is our blueprint for our city. Now, it's 10 years old now, so because that was adopted back in 2016.
Which in Miami Beach years is like 50, right?
It's like 50. So we're actually in the process of updating that transportation plan, but it's still built, on that framework of pedestrians first. We are a pedestrian-focused city. So over the past 10 years, since the adoption of that master plan, we've embarked on so many dozens and dozens of projects that prioritize pedestrian safety, pedestrian mobility, bicycle safety as well. For example, we've built over 30 miles of bike lanes, many of them protected bike lanes, shared use paths over the past 10 years to the point that we now have over 40 miles. In a 7 square mile city, we have over huge. 40 miles of bike lanes, shared use paths. We've connected our beach walk, which is now continuous from the southern point South Point Park, all the way up to our city limit of 87th Terrace, and it even wraps around South Point Park where Smith and Walensky is, and goes up the Baywalk on the bay side of our city up to Fifth Street. So there's about good probably 10 to 11 miles right there of shared use paths just along the eastern coast of our city.
Yeah, I like to plug for Smith and Walensky. You'll be getting a steak dinner tonight.
That was
kidding. And what's really amazing about Miami Beach is you're doing all these amazing things, and yet you don't get nearly the amount of surtax funds, the half-penny funds, to pay for it all, right? Because, again, that is based purely on your residential population, which isn't really that large. But your daytime population is really what's driving a lot of the transportation and mobility challenges, and yet you don't really get half-penny funds to address those. So what is the city doing to really pay for all these things? Because your services and your projects are well above what you're getting from us.
That is very true, Javier. So we've had to get creative in terms of our funding sources because, as you mentioned, the half-cent surtax in and of itself cannot nearly fund all the transportation projects and services that we are providing. As a matter of fact, the PTP funds are strictly allocated just to the trolley, and that's not even enough to cover our entire trolley service.
You have an extensive service.
And we have a pretty robust, trolley service that covers the entire city, runs 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
How many routes now?
I'm sorry?
How many routes now?
We have a total of 4 routes. Yeah. We have a loop in North Beach, a loop in Mid Beach, a loop in South Beach, and then we have the Collins Express, which is the north-south spine that ties it all together. Amongst the 4 loops, we carry close to 4 million passengers a year. So all our vehicles are highly utilized, many times at capacity. So we're really looking to expand that service, but we're limited, from a budgetary perspective. So what we've had to do over the years is augment the PTP funds with local funding sources and grant funding sources as well. And FDOT has actually been a very good partner throughout the years, helping us fund our trolley service as well as other transportation and mobility programs.
So in addition to trolleys, for instance, you have the on-demand transit, right?
We have our on-demand transit. We also have the newest addition to our transportation portfolio, which is our water taxi, our Cross Bay water taxi, which connects downtown Miami to Miami Beach. We're very excited about our free water taxi service. It's such a convenient, scenic, stress-free way to commute between Miami and Miami Beach. But currently, it only operates Monday through Friday, so we're focusing on our workforce commuters. It's not a service that is being provided on weekdays at this time, purely from a budgetary weekends at this time, purely from a budgetary standpoint. So, we are looking for partners to be able to augment our service and have more stops, more destinations. Currently, we're only providing a cross-bay service tying the 2 cities. So we're very excited about that. But we would like to serve our own city and be able to connect South Beach, Mid Beach, and North Beach in the very near future. So back to funding sources, what we've done is that we've allocated our tourist dollars, which we call our resort taxes, to augment the PTP funds and the grant dollars that we receive in order to be able to fully fund our transportation portfolio.
That's helpful. It's helpful to have those dollars for sure. And it makes sense. They're the ones that are actually, impacting the city. And so it makes sense that those dollars would go towards mitigating those impacts, right?
Right.
So the waterborne transportation, the water taxi is really cool. It's been discussed for decades, right? We see the water and we look at places like New York where they have these ferries and we're like, why can't we do that here? The challenge has always been, there are several challenges. One of them is the Manatee protection zone. Right? For transportation to work, it needs to connect people efficiently. And that trip should be quicker than the alternative in a car. But because of the Manatee protection zones, the boats generally can't go very fast. So how have you guys kind of managed to address that challenge? Or is it just that the traffic is so bad that even with the Manatee protection zones, the water taxi is still going to get you there faster, or at least comparably, and just more comfortably.
And it's the latter.
Okay.
It takes 20 minutes, 18 to 20 minutes to get from downtown Miami to Miami Beach, or vice versa on the water taxi. On any given day when the causeways are congested, it'll take you just that long as well. So it's very comparable. It's a very comparable commute, but it's a lot more, stress-free and convenient. And we have good...
It's fun.
And fun. Nice. We've got good connections on both sides. We've partnered with the city of Miami on their side, and they have freebie service that comes up right to the dock. They have trolley service, several trolley routes that serve the Adrian Arch Center, which is essentially where we stop. We stop at the marina just north of the Adrian Arch Center, all within walking distance. And then, of course, Metro Mover at the Adrian Arch Center, and Metro Bus. So we have good county connectivity, City of Miami connectivity, and on our side, we connect to our freebie service, we connect to our trolley service, we connect to our city bike service. So very good, seamless connections, and it's a comfortable ride. It's scenic. I've done it myself, and it's a new way of exploring and getting to know, our cities.
Can you bring a fishing rod and fish out the back?
No, you can't.
No, not yet. Not yet. Coming soon. So you mentioned City of Miami, and it's a city you know well because you spent several years there. So let's talk about your background. So you've been at the beach, I think you said, for 15 years now.
About 15 years.
Which is incredible. But prior to that, I know you worked at the City of Miami, and prior to that, FDOT. So tell us about your background and some of the things you did in those capacities.
Sure. So, my career began at the Florida Department of Transportation.
Like many traffic engineers in Miami, right? It's like training ground.
Yes, it is. It's a great organization there. And so I was in their management training program, and that's where it all started. And I was actually there for about 10 years. But I was always drawn to public transportation. So even within the FDOT engineering organization, I was always drawn to public transportation. So I was in the public transportation office, the office that deals with the seaport, the airport, Miami-Dade County, transportation, the TPO. And so I was there for 10 years. And then from there, I went to the city of Miami, and I was a transportation manager there at Miami, and very proud of being able to start their trolley system, very successful trolley system that has just grown. And
which is where you and I began to work together, right? I was at the DDA, and we wanted a trolley, and like, Jose, let's get to work. And we did it. We did it. Biscayne Brickell trolley.
I remember that one. Whenever I'm in Miami and I see a City of Miami trolley pass by, it just puts a smile on my face. Because I remember even picking the colors, and with the DDA picking the bubbles on the vehicles, the circles on the vehicles.
And it's grown to now 13 routes, and it's really successful in its own right.
Incredible.
But it started with you, Jose. So congratulations.
Thank you. And then so I was at Miami for about 8 years, and then after Miami, I went to work for my city where I live. I live in Miami Beach. I've been a beach resident for many, many years, and there was an opportunity there, and became director of transportation and mobility at Miami Beach, and I've been there since for 15 years. So
fantastic. And again, 15 years at City of Miami Beach is probably like 40 years somewhere else, because there's so much
that is true.
Kind of within that time frame. The city moves at such a fast pace.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So, and you have a great team at the City of Miami Beach. We work with all the cities, and I will say you have one of the more professional staff. I mean, you really have top-notch team. Tell us about the department and all the different things you do there.
Sure. So our department, it's a small team. And so we have essentially 3 divisions. We have the transit division, which oversees our trolley service, our water taxi service, the on-demand freebie service, that on-demand transit service that's operated by Freebie, and our bus shelter program. We're in the process of rolling out new iconic bus shelters, previously designed by Pininfarina, the firm Pininfarina, Pininfarina, so very stylish, very nice. And
everything the beach does has to be kind of
it's all about
architecturally,
image.
yeah,
it's all
top
about
notch.
image. Yes. So that's what the transit division does. And there's the traffic division. We have a very, robust traffic engineering division. Traffic is a key issue, has been in our city for, many years now. And so our traffic division works closely with Miami-Dade County and with FDOT to just basically try to improve traffic flow on our major thoroughfares.
Right.
And the traffic division is responsible for traffic studies and all that technical traffic engineering stuff. And then we have the administrative division, which deals with funding and, the budget and, the PTP funds, make sure that we're spending them correctly. And proud to say that we've always, throughout the years, been audited several times, and all the audits
Never
come
had
out
an issue.
squeaky clean.
You guys do a great job, honestly.
Thank you.
So thank you. And so what are we've talked about some of the services you currently provide. What are some of the things kind of on the horizon that you're working towards? So either major infrastructure projects or new transit services, bike ped?
Sure. Well, I'll start with the water taxi. We're very excited about the water taxi, but we want to expand it. Yeah. We want to really make it part of our transportation fabric. And, in order to do that, as I mentioned earlier, we want to be able to expand it north and south so that it goes not just east and west, connecting Miami and Miami Beach, but so that it also connects our residents and, our visitors and
You're
workforce.
surrounded by water. You have the canals. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. And so with the water taxi service, we've divided it up into 3 phases. Phase 1 is the phase that we've deployed already that connects Miami and Miami Beach. Phase 2 would connect South Beach, Mid Beach, and North Beach along the west coast of our city. And the third phase would penetrate the Indian Creek waterway that's parallel to Collins Avenue, and probably with smaller vessels at that point, but serve the eastern side of our city. So we'd serve both the eastern side, the western side, and have that cross bay connectivity. So, we're focusing on that. As I mentioned, we're looking for partnerships with the county, with the state, because this is really a regional service that we're providing. Yeah. It's connecting 2 cities. So, looking forward to partnering with the county and the state going forward on that service. And we continue to expand our green bike lane network, our shared use paths. We have projects in the works, in construction, many other in the pipeline. We'd like to get to 50 miles of bike lanes and shared use paths within the next few years, within the next 5 years. It is getting increasingly difficult because it's you've done so much already, and that was probably the low-hanging fruit, right? Exactly.
And now it's the more challenging.
Exactly.
Things,
now it's the more challenging corridors where they're very constrained, and in order to get 1 inch of anything in, something's got to give.
There's a trade-off.
And that's where, those projects become more challenging. And many of them are on state roads. And, the state has a process for lane repurposing if you want to do a bike lane. So they're lengthier, more complex projects. And we have a new trolley service that's starting late this year, early next year with new vehicles. Our current trolley service has been extremely successful, but it's reached the end of its service life. The vehicles are at least 10 years old for the most part. So it's due time to bring in a new fleet of vehicles. And so we're in the new vehicles have been ordered. They're much more convenient, comfortable for boarding and alighting of passengers. They're heavy duty vehicles to really withstand, all the wear and tear, all the abuse that we give our trolley vehicles 15 hours a day, 365 days a year.
Are they still traditional fuel, or are you starting to look at
It's still traditional. We
alternatives?
did look at alternative fuels, but it was just not there yet, not feasible, from a cost perspective. And, a lot of challenges with recharging, especially vehicles that are in service for 15 hours a day, 365 days a year. You almost need 2 electric vehicles to do what one conventional fuel vehicle does, because the charge on an electric vehicle just won't last that long. So there's some logistical challenges as well. So we hope for the next generation of our trolley service, we'll be able to have some electric or another technology by that point.
Now, the city has been, always kind of on the leading edge of a lot of things. So let's talk about technology for a second in the few minutes we have remaining. What are you looking at in terms of kind of innovation and technology and even existing technologies like micromobility? Has the city embraced that? I know they're very controversial because, you don't want them on the sidewalks. It's dangerous for them to be on the street. It's kind of a difficult challenge.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that for a second. Start with the kind of the e-scooters and the e-bikes, and then branch off into other technologies and innovation.
Sure. Well, I want to start with our Intelligent Transportation System project, because that's a project that's actually in construction. It has a smart parking component as well. So we call it ITS, Smart Parking
And parking
system.
on the beach, by the way, a whole nother beast.
It's a whole nother beast. That is true. But a lot of synergies between parking and transportation. So, we've partnered with parking to fold in all our parking garages and our large-sized parking lots as part of this intelligent transportation and smart parking system. But with the ITS system, we have smart cameras that use, they're AI-based, and we have them at strategic intersections throughout the city, and they're constantly collecting data, pedestrian data, bicycle data, vehicle data. They're actually also looking for near misses. A collision doesn't happen, but there may be a safety issue there. There's some near misses. We're capturing those as well. We have, to augment that, we have digital message boards that we're placing throughout the city along our major thoroughfares to be able to provide real-time traffic information to the motoring public. A lot of folks think that those are signs that were put there by the DOT, but they're actually City of Miami Beach signs, even on the causeway, those large electronic signs. And we give advance notification for special events that are coming up and any roadway incident as well. As part of the system, we also have sensors throughout the city that are collecting real-time travel information, how long it takes a certain vehicle to get from a point A to a point B in our city. And that's important in order to determine congestion thresholds and be able to prevent congestion. So when you see that that travel time starts building up, then we kick in traffic management. Traffic management we do through a traffic engineer that we have as part of our team that has access to the county's traffic signal system and works with the county, still in partnership with the county, because ultimately the county has jurisdiction and purview over traffic signal control. But we work very closely with the county to be able to change our traffic signals and, change the offsets, change the length of the green time, the red time, improve the coordination along the corridor, all very important things in order to improve traffic flow. I'm sure we've all been caught in those, you're at a red light, you see the light in front of you green. Finally, when you get the green, you approach the next light and it's red. And so we are trying to
squeeze out those efficiencies.
Exactly. Every second counts. So that's a big part of the Intelligent Transportation System project. With micromobility, a lot of focus in our city with micromobility. And some ordinances actually that are in the works right now regarding micromobility. And really the goal is the safety of all the users, of not only the micromobility users, but the users of the byways, the paths that they are on. So for safety reasons, we have had to ban micromobility on the beach walk, for example. Our beach walk is a product of its success. It has thousands of people walking on it, jogging on it at any given time.
Skating.
Skating, you name it. And for the most part, it's only 15 feet wide. So imagine a constrained 15-foot wide path with all these, activations and then micromobility, devices as well.
Which
allow
are,
bicycles
much faster than everybody else is going.
Much faster.
That's the danger, right?
Correct.
It's the speed.
So there's been a concerted effort to improve safety along our beach walk. It's our premier shared use path, and as part of that, we've actually drawn a center line along our beach walk, and to basically advise people to keep to the right. In this country, we drive on the right side of the road, so we should walk on the right side of the road. And you'd be surprised, people are following directions.
Oh, good.
It's been very effective. You see people, going northbound on the right side, southbound on the left side, and people
should come naturally, but somehow
but it doesn't,
they need that stripe to remind them.
Exactly. The stripe worked with arrows just to make sure they're in the right direction. Some signage as well. A lot slow down signs. We're going to be putting some electronic speed feedback signs as well, because even some of our bicyclists, unfortunately, sometimes are traveling very fast along, and it's a conventional bike, but it could be going 20 plus miles an hour.
Yeah, some people can pick up speed on those things. I was never one of them. But.
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. So, we're trying to build out our bicycle network on the streets to be able to relieve some of that pressure off of the beach walk, because we've had to take these measures in the interest of safety.
And finally, Jose, I imagine all this is coming together in an app, right? The city has a transportation app that kind of where all these different services come together.
Yes, we have actually two apps. We have one app that's dedicated to our trolley. It's the Trolley Tracker. It's embedded in the city's mobile application. It's actually the first icon there, Trolley Tracker. And then we have the Transit app that we've had for several years now. The Transit app, internationally known, and it consolidates all the different modes. So in there, you'll see already our freebie service, our trolley service, our water taxi service, the county's bus services there. It's just the one-stop shop for all modes.
That's fantastic. So if somebody wants to go from point A to point B, they go to that app, and it'll tell you how to do that using multiple modes, right?
Correct.
In the most efficient way possible.
Correct.
That's great. Listen, Jose, believe it or not, we are out of time. I'll leave you with the last word if there's anything you want to add that we didn't touch on. And then finally, let the folks know where they can go if they want to learn more about your department, and all the wonderful services you have.
Sure. Well, thank you again. Thank you, Javier, for the invitation. Pleasure to be here and share, everything that we're doing over at Miami Beach. Come visit Miami Beach.
Absolutely.
Take
the water taxi.
Take the water taxi. It's a wonderful city. So much to do. If you have any questions, if anyone has any questions on any of our services, they can go to miamibeachfl.gov/transportation, or they can just call our number directly. It's 305-673-7514. That's our direct line to, our office with any question, any comment, any suggestion. We are a city that is open to new ideas, to innovation, to tests, to pilot different things. The water taxi, for example, started as a pilot, and it's just kicked off. So we're open and here to serve our community.
Well, thank you, Jose, again. Thank you for appearing on the program. Thank you for all that you do. You've really impressed me throughout your career.
Thank you.
The amount of things and at the level of quality that the city is doing is incredible. You really are a model for other cities to follow.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate that the city is spending well above what it gets in half-penny funds to address those critical needs, right? You're not using funding as an excuse.
No.
You're investing, as much as you possibly can from other sources. So thank you, to your team, to the city of Miami Beach.
Thank you, Javier.
And folks, I want to thank you for tuning in. If you like this episode, please like it, share it, subscribe, and keep tuning in to future episodes. I also want to thank our partners in this, Miami's community newspapers, for hosting and producing the program. Special thanks to our producer, Anzoni, back there behind the screens and cameras. That's all the time we have. So until next time, keep moving, Miami.